Well, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you happen to be around the world. Welcome to another Office Hours here on Hosting.com's Agency Success. My name is Nathan Ingram. I'm the agency trainer here with Agency Success, and I'm so glad every week to open my office doors to you, and you can ask whatever you'd like. So we like to follow a little bit of a pattern here. We'll talk about a little bit of WordPress news, maybe a couple of quick agency success announcements, and then we will dive right into your questions. Now, as always, you can ask your questions at any point during the week. All you have to do is go to wpnathan.com and click on the Ask a Question button. You don't have to wait for office hours. And as a matter of fact, we get those early questions in as a top priority. So we take those questions in the order they are received. The link to do that is here on the chat. WP Nathan is just a template, it's a cadence starter template, just to give us something to troubleshoot on if we want to look at anything during office hours. But this Ask a Question link up here in the header is always there and available, and you can just drop your question in right here, and we will get that in the queue. So it looks like currently there are these 6 questions in the list that we'll get started with here in just a moment. So we were talking just briefly in the pre-show about a really fun live stream we did earlier this week, the part 2 of creating your starter site. And I'd love to hear your feedback in the chat on that. What was your biggest takeaway? A lot of folks were talking about the plugin list, the suggested starter site plugin stack, those list of plugins, a lot of fun stuff there. That is hopefully will be a very helpful live stream pair, both part 1 and part 2, as you look at building your starter site. It's a great time of the year to do that. A lot of times we have downtime over the holidays to think about, something to do business-wise. A lot of times client work tends to drop off there. We try to be closed actually the last couple of weeks of December every year, and we're on track to do that this year too. But I always look at the starter site, our base site, over that time and make sure that, if there's any changes or tweaks we need to make as well. Okay, so let me get into a couple of news items. So a couple of interesting things I want to draw your attention to. One is this one here. This is a post on the Make WordPress blog. I'm dropping the link in the chat. This was a couple of days ago. Jacob Smith posted an overview of this new feature that is going to be coming to the next version of WordPress, WordPress 7.0, which is due out sometime later next year, fall, I believe. October-ish. No, well, it just says 2026. I think it's the second half of 2026. But anyway, there's a lot of things in 7.0 that might get some attention, but this real-time collaboration feature, I think, is really, really cool. And the reason, and they've started to add some groundwork for this already in the latest version of WordPress, the 6.9, with some in-post commenting. And I'm just because that video on the page is so small, here's a downloaded version of that. I'm just going to scrub forward for a minute because like right here, this function is already present in WordPress 6.9, which if you build sites alone, it's not going to be super helpful. But if you do any kind of collaboration on content, either with your team or with, if you are, you have clients that you collaborate with, or even your clients collaborating with other team members, this is pretty cool. So you can actually leave comments in the post editor. They call them notes, but they're essentially comments, and you can collaborate with that. Now, what's coming to WordPress 7? Look, okay, right there. So this is like the collaboration experience that Google Docs offers, or Notion, not Notion, Figma. So if you've done any work with apps that offer this sort of real-time collaboration, that kind of thing is what they're working on bringing into WordPress core in the block editor. Now, if you're using a builder, it's not going to work in there unless the builder does some sort of code magic to bring in the that sort of collaboration to their product. Maybe they will, who knows? But you can see here's this other person. I think we are in this video, this person, and this person is also working in the post as we're going. Isn't that interesting? So you can kind of see what people are doing. typing and so forth. Anyway, this is coming to WordPress 7.0, and I think it's going to be a neat feature for sure. So a couple of other quick bits of news. WooCommerce has been named one of the launch partners for Stripe's agentic commerce suite. Now, what does this mean? We talked about this a little bit a few months back in one of these little news tidbits at the beginning of office hours, where I don't know if you've noticed it or not, but ChatGPT has started, they don't have any photographs of it here or images, but they've started actually making product suggestions in conversations. So it's already working with things like Etsy and other online shops where right there in a ChatGPT conversation, you can tap that item on your phone or click it on your screen and proceed with the purchase without ever having to even visit the site. And the exciting thing is that as Stripe is rolling out their feature that's going to allow products to be purchased, WooCommerce is one of the primary partners. And so WooCommerce stores, the products will be purchasable right there in an AI conversation. So that's pretty darn cool. Sue's asking, does OpenAI get a piece of the action? I don't think so. I don't think that's how they're monetizing. I mean, in the future, who knows, right? But I don't think that's part of the deal. I could be wrong about that. But all the framework in the back end, so when the product is discovered and ChatGPT knows about it and it makes that product recommendation for your WooCommerce store, all of the back end code is going to be present for them people to click that item and purchase it just right there with like a Stripe modal, but processing through your WooCommerce store. That's pretty cool. So it's nice to see that WooCommerce is right there on the cutting edge of this new option in purchasing that I think is going to be foundational to the way people do e-commerce for the next coming years. So pretty interesting. One more little bit AI related news that I will mention. I don't know if anybody's seen this one. It actually was a couple of months ago. I totally missed this, but this is a pretty darn cool offering that Cloudflare has. If you've ever done any vibe coding, and by vibe coding, I mean something like Cursor or even more app focused like Lovable. I've built a couple of Lovable apps. One we're actually using internally in my agency, and it's really cool for site management. We've used Lovable for that, and it's a powerful tool. If you want to experiment with something, it's amazing to see what you can do with some of these vibe coding tools. But Cloudflare now gives you the infrastructure to kind of build your own vibe coding platform. So essentially, you take an API key from your AI provider of choice, Claude or ChatGPT or whatever, and drop it in their system. And they essentially build you based around Cloudflare workers. You can build apps right there within Cloudflare in a code base that you control, like over in GitHub or something like that. So it should be a lot less expensive than some of the vibe coding tools like Lovable, although they're not terribly expensive. But you get a little more control over things. So this is actually something I'm going to be investigating over the holiday, and I look forward to learning more about it. So just a few little bits of news there. Let me share with you a couple of hosting.com agency success related items, and then we'll get into some questions. So first of all, I mentioned this in the pre-show. Want to be sure that you've gotten the notice that you'll need to re-register for office hours starting in January. The main reason for this is, quite frankly, we've changed Zoom accounts. So the Zoom account where office hours has currently been managed is being closed and a new one has been opened. And so if you'll sign up with this second link right here, let me just drop in the link bundle again. So that very first link in the bundle I dropped, the upcoming.myagencysuccess.com, takes you to this link tree. And the second item in the link tree is the sign up for all 2026 office hours. So if you haven't done that yet, go ahead and just register now. It's a recurring event, and you'll get notified every week when office hours is coming. So make sure you do that because you'll not get any more reminders after December. So The other thing I want to mention, now we did get a couple of live streams, 3 live streams scheduled for January. January is always a focus for productivity for many people. And so I'll be talking about taming the whirlwind, how to grow your business when you're busy. And that's a framework for getting things done in your business to grow your business, even while you're juggling the demands of client work. So that's coming on January 6th. January 20th, we'll be unpacking that issue of email deliverability. Who stole my email? That's coming up on January the 20th. And finally, why rich content and video will define the future of SEO. This is going to be a very, very interesting live stream from our hosting.com experts. So that should be a lot of fun as well. One more little mention, because next Thursday is Christmas Day, and the following Thursday is New Year's Day, we're changing the schedule for office hours. So for the next 2 weeks, office hours will be on Friday. Now, you'll get those notices automatically because you've signed up. But just to let you know for your calendar, next week's office hours Friday, the following week also Friday. Then we start fresh with the new year. All right. So should be a lot of fun over the next couple of weeks. Hopefully you get a little bit of time off and get to do some things that you enjoy. All right. Well, let's get into some questions, shall we? Looks like we now have 10 questions in the list. How very exciting. So make sure you ask a question if you have one. All right. First up is Beth Livingston. Beth Livingston. All right. Hey, Beth. I tried to match some URL redirections, and Claude says it is blocked from doing that. Network restrictions. Both domains are blocked in my testing environment. Yep. So please tell me again how to ensure LLMs can crawl my site, cloudflarehosting.com settings. Thank you. Okay. So Beth, it depends on what you're doing in Cloudflare, right? So what I would do is, if you like, there's a couple of ways to figure this out. You can make sure that you don't have AI bots toggled off, like you haven't intentionally turned off AI bots in Cloudflare. Matter of fact, let me just quick get that open right here so you can see what I'm talking about. Take me just a moment to get to the right account so I don't show any client information. So there is that spot in Cloudflare where you can toggle on and off AI bot access. I am struggling, folks, to get logged into Cloudflare. There we go. Okay. Here we go. All right. So let's grab the one for WP Nathan so we don't mess anything up. And just right here on the overview page, there is a drop down that lets you decide what you want to do with crawlers. Now, make sure that you're not blocking them there. So that's the big global feature in Cloudflare. Now, the other thing you might check is over in your analytics. So in your here in your security analytics, like as soon as you get that can't access your website error in the AI tool, give it like a minute or two, because these analytics are a few minutes delayed. So then come and look at your analytics and see if you have a block notice or a challenge notice. And you may find that you've accidentally blocked Claude or whatever with one of your security rules. One thing you might check is this. Just look at all of your blocked and challenged rules. It could be that like the AI tool is using a range of addresses in one of the rules that you've set. Like if you're following the rules that I gave out last year, a lot of those have changed because the way these IP blocks have changed. So it may be getting caught by one of those, and those security analytics will show you what it is, so you can add that user agent or whatever to your allow list. So it's a little bit of a process trying to figure out what's actually blocking it, but it's probably one of your security rules. All right. And this is, I gotta say, this is one of those things, like when we talk about what flavor of hosting should I use, right? Should I have a VPS or a VDS, or should I get a managed WordPress host? If listening to me talking about security rules and things like that in Cloudflare is just something you don't want to get into, there's nothing wrong with that. And managed hosting is the right option for that scenario. Like, I just want to fool with that stuff. I just want it to work. Great. That's where managed hosting, managed WordPress hosting by Rocket.net is the way to go. If you don't like, if you like the control and customization that fiddling in your own Cloudflare rules can give you, that's where a good VPS or VDS option from hosting.com is the way to go. So this is just a perfect example of that choice. Okay. Next up on the list is Stacy C. Hey, Stacy. Oh dear. Okay. What is my favorite Christmas plugin? Oh, such a great question. There are many of them, of course, and I'm scrolling back right now, and grabbing our last, back when we used to do plugin roundups. I'm grabbing the last holiday plugin roundup list and get the link for the one that I like the best. So there are lots of those, right? Like there. Um, Matter of fact, how many of you want that list? Do you want the holiday? You want this? Like I can drop a quick Dropbox link and give you all the give you this give you this PDF with the links on it. Let me grab that for you real quick, and we will share that. Okay, here is the Dropbox link coming to you in the chat right there. Okay, so there are a few here that are a lot of fun. Um, I would say probably like if you really want to go nuts with your with a Christmas or holiday decoration on your website, this one right here, the Christmasify, is I mean it's really kind of hard to beat. And we'll just go ahead and drop this into WP Nathan because why not? Um, let's add that plugin. Oh my. Yeah, there are more, let's just say there are more subtle Christmas plugins than this one. It does get the Griswold level 10 ranking from me. It is pretty it can be a lot. Let's just be honest. Let's get that activated. Okay. So we get a nice menu item. And let's get the front end of the site open. Yeah, let's just do a heavy snowstorm. Um, and we'll get some nice snow here, I think. Maybe. Do we have to set a snow speed? Oh, wait, that's our problem. Let's set our activation date. Oh, there it is. All right, so there's a really it's a lot of snow. It's a lot of snow. And we, if you want classy snow, you can get classy snow. I would never ever do this on a live site, I don't think. Yeah, so apparently round is classy. I do actually like that one better. But you can get a lot more. For example, would you like to hear jingle bells? Well, we can do that. How about a flying Santa? Decorate Christmas decorations for our images and Christmassy headings. Absolutely. Let's just do that. And here we go. So there's our nice Christmassy things. Um, and you can't hear it, but there's jingle bells playing in the background here. There's our flying Santa. And yeah, there we have it. So, why not? So anyway, there's a whole list of holiday plugins for you. And yeah, you're welcome. I dare you to Christmasify a live site for a client. Okay, moving moving right along. Okay, next in Stacy, did we satisfy your holiday cheer? They're good enough with that one. Okay. Next up is Beth Livingston. All right. Beth says, a few weeks ago, I installed the Adminify plugin to control the backend, and it immediately crashed some things, so I uninstalled it and moved on. Yeah. But an annoying feature lingers. Here's a Loom video to demonstrate. Note how the admin menu jumps, and then I can't tell if I actually select it and have to select again to get the page. Is there a way to get rid of the remnants of a crappy plugin it leaves behind, even after you uninstall it? Well, it shouldn't have left anything. That's odd. Okay, let's see here. So we're clicking. I don't like what is actually going on here. Oh, you mean the way it jumped down to the next? Ooh, that's weird. Beth, where is this hosted? Is it on Beth, is it on a one of the VPS or VDS servers, or is it on managed hosting? Okay. You might try clearing the cache. That's weird that it would do that, but maybe there's some code lingering. I don't honestly see what is the problem? Oh, do you mean like the menus moving around up and down? Oh, it was doing this before you moved it to hosting.com. What would cause? Yeah, so that's a really good question, Beth. I don't know that I have a good answer to that, especially I mean my best guess was something got cached, but if you've changed hosting platforms, it moves and doesn't select the item I clicked until I click on it again. Beth, how old is your mouse? Does it do this on any other site or just this one? Because of just that one, really? Are you sure? Um, See, I had this same issue, and I ended up having to buy a new mouse because I had over buttoned, I had clicked the mouse beyond its click threshold, apparently. And like the clicker wasn't, it was clicking, but it wasn't accepting the click. So it was a hardware issue. And now my new mouse works great. Um, wow. And you're 100% sure that you go into any other site and it works exactly, no problems at all, period. Okay. So it's not a mouse issue. So the things in a plugin like this that could that it I don't know of any. If have you tried a different web browser on that site? Try a different browser. Does it work in a different browser? Because maybe you have some stuff cached in your browser. Okay, so we're going to pause that and come back to it in just a minute. Because see, the thing is, the first of all, I can't imagine any code that would create that situation. Um, but even if there was, it would be some weird CSS or JavaScript, both of which would have been removed when you deleted the plugin. And the only places they would remain is in like a cache somewhere, like at the server level, but that's not it because you've changed server platforms. So the only other place would be your browser. That's my best guess. Other than that, it's a head scratcher. I don't think it would be in a database. Uh, I mean, it would be a very weird thing if the developer was storing CSS or JavaScript in the database. Like that would be, I can't imagine that would happen. All right. Let's move on to the next question until Beth can get back to us on that, and then we'll revisit it. And this one is from Ben Anderson. Hey, Ben. Okay. This is a holdover from Tuesday. Thank you for asking this again, Ben. Let's see. And Ben's not with us today. Do you know how WP Umbrella's backups work and whether they handle large sites well? Maybe someone here has experience. Okay, so WP Umbrella is, one of the many options for a central dashboard to manage many different WordPress sites. It's quite good. I've never used it, but I have a lot of friends that use it and they really like it. And they like especially the flat rate pricing. What is it, $2 per site per month, which is reasonable for all the things they do. Now, the backups are, it's like many of the other, it's like a SaaS backup, right? So the backup is coming from an external source and pulling it out. So it's as I understand it, it's a more efficient way to do a backup. If I understand the way Umbrella does it, it's a more efficient way of doing backups than a WordPress plugin, which requires a lot more resources. The resources are happening at the SaaS level from the server, the Umbrella server that's calling in and pulling that data out. So is anybody here using WP Umbrella? Just let me hear, give me a yes in the chat. And do you recommend it to others or are you frustrated with it? Let's just hear it. Billy is recommending it. Yep. Anybody else using Umbrella? I haven't heard anything bad about it. So Ben, I think it's probably a good option. There's a lot of folks using it. Beth has checked back in saying it happens in the Edge browser also. That is really weird, Beth. I can't think of anything that I don't know. I don't even know what to tell you. That's a good one. That is the winner of the week at this point. I have no idea what would be causing that. Next up in the list is Gene. Hey, Gene. All right, Gene. A Google search results question. Pausing momentarily. How many of you got 800 emails from Google Search Console in the last couple of days? Anybody besides me? I saw somebody posting about it on Facebook. I'm like, I'm not the only one. Yeah, I don't know. It goes through this thing where it, I don't know, every month or so we get this rash of emails that are mostly wrong from Google Search Console. Anyway, okay, different question altogether. Google search results question from Gene. I have updated the title and meta titles on many pages on a new site, but in the search results, the old meta descriptions still show up. I have also resubmitted the sitemap, but the search results still show pages with old meta. Is there a way to refresh Google to get them to start using the new meta descriptions? The answer is no. Sorry. Good luck with that. Google will update them if and when they decide to. And here's the kicker. Google will now even change the titles of your pages and the meta descriptions based on the search query of the user. So sometimes it doesn't even matter what you put. Google will rewrite them for you. Isn't that nice of them? Yeah. So that's just part of the deal. And they're trying to make it better for the user and theoretically for the site owner as well, because like what they're doing is saying, this is the user intent, and we think your site reflects that intent. So we're going to tweak your title and meta to help the user see that that's what they're looking for, which in theory sounds wonderful. However, don't mess with my site titles, please. Right? Anyway. So yeah, it's totally up. You cannot control when Google comes to crawl the site. You just can't. You can, something that might help is deleting your sitemap and adding a new one back. But some people say that causes more harm than good. So it really, there's not a lot you can do about it, unfortunately. Wish I had better answers for you, Gene. All righty. Next up is also Gene. A client is interested in adding a chatbot to the website. Do you have recommendations on a plugin and what it entails? Along the same line, do you have experience in adding the chat option on a Google profile page? So no, I have never tried to add on a Google profile page. And let me ask you more, Gene, about this chatbot. Is the purpose of the chatbot more of a sales tool or a question answering tool? To book appointments. Okay. Um, let's see. Are what are they using internally? Do they have like an internal CRM or something like that? Service Titan. Never heard of it. So the first question is, does Service Titan have a bot that does booking already? They may, right? Let's just take a quick peek. I've never heard of Service Titan. This is apparently a third party that works to make Service Titan stuff better. And they may have something that integrates. You're always going to be better to find an integrated solution to the current platform if possible. Let me drop that in. It's just called allveri.com. The link is in the chat. Whoops. Um, most of their stuff is data analytics, though, not a. So there's the one that we have recommended to a client after some research is like for what you're describing is simply called livechat.com. It seems to hit all the boxes at a reasonable price point. There's so many of these out there, though, and I'm not sure that they're a whole lot different than each other. A couple of folks have mentioned, well, let's see, Chris says talk.io. Somebody else said talk to. Yeah. Talk, right. TAWK. So Gene, like the question really is, what do they want to happen on the other side of this chatbot? And how much, yeah, so you're saying how much management is required by the admin team. So we need to back up a step here from the solution to the question and the problem. What problem are they trying to solve by offering a chatbot on their website? Okay, capturing leads. Now, how do they expect a chatbot is going to be better than a contact form or a click to call phone number? We need to start at the problem and make sure we're solving the right problem here. Do they want a chatbot because everybody else has one? That's the question. And that's what we really need to dig into that and figure out, is that really the right solution? Okay. So at that point, really any chatbot is going to work. And Melanie just made a really interesting observation in the chat that Service Titan they have a hook in Zapier, which means that most chat, like for example, choose a chatbot like the one I recommended here, this live chat. I know it connects to Zapier. That it can take the data in that conversation and push it directly into Service Titan. So that's the kind of thing that you want to think about when you're selecting. Any of the chatbots out there are going to be able to have a basic conversation to book an appointment. But what you have to figure out is, what are the parameters of booking? Like, do they need to make sure, are they just trying to capture the lead information to then contact them back? Or, do they actually want to book a call in the system? And then does the bot need to figure out availability? So those are the questions you need to ask, or you may know the answers already. But those are the questions you need to ask to figure out what is the right answer. If it's simply, hey, thanks for visiting our website, put in your information and we'll call you back. Any of the chatbots are going to do that. That is basic level, work for any chatbot. This is where your role as a solutions provider comes in, where you're going to consult with a client and help them think through this solution. Don't just be an order taker. Help them think through all the facets of this decision. Next up is Chris. Hey, Chris. A themes question. You mentioned that you use Cadence and then run Beaver Builder on top of that. Yep. Why not use the Beaver Builder theme? What is the advantage? I cannot figure out for the life of me how to use blocks and Beaver Builder together. Can you show how you do this? I've tried so many times with no luck. Okay, so 2 questions here. Both of them are really good and could apply to your choice of block builder or your choice of theme or whatever. So thanks for asking this question, Chris. So first of all, the reason that we choose the Cadence theme is that it is incredibly accessible out of the box. And some of the biggest challenges for accessibility can be that header and the main navigation menu, right? And so Cadence is, I mean, in the last Equalized Digital roundup of themes and all the things, Cadence was at the top of the list. Like, I think it was, I don't, I think they gave it 100%, which is nuts. But anyway, so we like Cadence because it is, first of all, very, very fast and has a lot of different options like elements and mega menu and other things like that that we really like. And so we let Cadence be the canvas for the designs that we build with a page builder, in our case, Beaver Builder. So why do that and not use the base Beaver Builder theme? It's not as functional. Beaver Builder theme doesn't offer a lot of the capabilities that Cadence does. It's a very light theme that supports the Beaver Builder page builder. It's fine. Its menus aren't as accessible, although the Beaver Builder menus are getting better, but they're still not as fully accessible as Cadence. So that's why we do that. Now, how do you make blocks and a page builder work together? And so that is a great question. So what you can do and I'll answer this page builder agnostic. Okay. So with any page builder, at least all of them that I've seen, in the settings, you can tell the builder, I want you active on these certain post types, right? So you can say, I want the page builder to be active on pages and this custom post type and not posts. And I want, as you know, simply by virtue of the other option, the block editor is the default editor on posts. So for us in our work, I hate using blocks as a page builder. I gave it some time. I've tried it multiple times. I just don't. It's clunky and it doesn't give us, and I don't care which block pattern or block set we use. It doesn't give us, like, we're not as fast and we don't have the capability to build pages, complex pages with conditional logic and all sorts of things. We can't do that in a page builder as well as we can with Beaver Builder. So that's why we've stayed with Beaver Builder to handle page layout. So the way we integrate this is it's by post type. And so depending on the post type, we'll make a choice. Do we want this post type to be managed by the page builder or by blocks? And so I think the block editor is wonderful in page content. It's just not great as a page builder, and there is a difference. So we love the block editor as like a post editor. You know, it's so much better, in my opinion, than classic editor for a typical blog post. It's just easier to use. And so we let blog posts be managed by the block editor, and we let pages and certain other custom post types be managed in a page builder. So does that help to see how those things fit together? And you can turn that on and off in the settings for your page builder, like which post types it works on. All right, so next up is Tanya. Hey, Tanya. What is your kryptonite? Adding products, I guess like WooCommerce products, makes my skin crawl, and I don't know why. Any tips on getting through the brain-numbing aspects of our jobs? What a wonderful question this is. Okay, so let me ask you this, Tanya. How anybody else on your team? Oh, besides hiring someone else to do it. Okay, that's where I was heading. So ultimately, it would be great for you to be able to hand over lower, what am I trying to say here? Lower impact work like this to someone else. But sometimes you just have to power through it. Okay, you don't have a team, so it's you. It's you or the team, and so you just got to add the products. And so, you might be able to import products, but aside from all of that, the point of the question is, how do you get through the kinds of work that we do that we don't enjoy? And I think we all have something like that, right? So let me hear from you in the chat. What is your version of adding products? Like, what is the thing that you hate doing the most in your work? Like if there's something you could never do again, there's some great suggestions on dealing with that. Well, anybody gonna be on? Okay, nobody's sharing in the chat. That's all right. Melanie just says WooCommerce, period. Yeah. Okay, so there are always going to be tasks that, unless you have a team, you're going to have to deal with. And so I have a couple of suggestions. The first suggestion is find a way to make it easier, clearly. So if you can import, automate, but sometimes you just have to slog through it. In those cases, what I've found is helpful. I'm going to make three suggestions. The first is time of day. So the knucklehead kind of work, like just the mind numbing, we just got to sit down and get it done. I move all those kinds of tasks to the afternoon because, in general, in an energy dip like most of us have in the afternoons, that's when that kind of work just fits better. And like weirdly, I can come away with a sense of accomplishment when I would do that kind of work because I did it. Like I checked that box. Those things are done, right? So time of day makes a big difference on when you do that kind of work. Try to do that in the afternoon because you're kind of in a dip already and you can kind of get in the groove and just get it done. The second thing I would recommend is something that was just mentioned earlier, a tool like Brain FM. Finding a Brain.fm is I thought it was, like smoke and mirrors at first, but it's legitimately tested by people with letters after their last name, like neuroscientists or whatever, background type music that can help you focus. And finding something like that or putting on some sort of background noise, music, something that can help you focus, you can really become a lot more efficient at doing these slog through it kind of tasks. And the third recommendation is give yourself a reward for finishing it. So, at the end of this, I'm going to go eat a piece of chocolate, or I'm going to go, get out and walk the dog or something you enjoy, right? And so, a little bit of reward and incentive to get through it can also help. But that's, anybody else have ideas and thoughts? Great ideas from everybody. Tanya says, I usually give myself an I didn't kill anyone today cupcake. Yeah, Gene, payment is a great motive. After this, I get paid. That is good. Yeah. So that's a great question, Tanya. Thanks for asking that. So Shanta needs a movie or TV show in the background. See, that would drive me absolutely insane. We're all different. We're all wired different. And it's, know yourself and know what's going to work. Good stuff. All right, next up is Melanie. Hey, Melanie. A follow-up light speed question. I had an issue on a site yesterday with a tab module not working on mobile. I immediately thought cache, cleared Lightspeed and Cloudflare with the Lightspeed plugin, cleared my local cache on 3 different browsers, no change. I created a staging site on Blog Vault, no caching at all, and it worked. Interesting. I cleared all the caches multiple times, but it just wouldn't work. I woke up this morning and it was working. Welcome to the world of caching. It has to be cached somewhere. Did you flip on development mode in Cloudflare? So turning on dev I would try that first. Dev mode on, then dump the cache, and just like dev mode is immediately going to tell you if it's caching or not. And Cloudflare can be very aggressive because if it's a tab module, so it is JavaScript deciding what's going to show. And so all of that, Cloudflare is going to pull all of that out to the edge. And so it's going to remain there until it is, physically flushed. Now, you cleared the Lightspeed cache? Is Lightspeed correctly connected to that site in Cloudflare? Like the zone shows up in Cloudflare in the settings. The zone, okay. Then it should have worked, right? So I don't have an answer for that, but I have had things like this happen before. And what I've done is go out and actually put Cloudflare in development mode. You can, by the way, do that from the CDN Cloudflare tab in Lightspeed, there's a button there to put it in development mode. But like if I've ever when I've seen that not work, it's because like this is my WP Nathan is not set up correctly, and there's no domain and zone showing up down here. That's how you know right here that it's not connected to Cloudflare. Otherwise, it would show the domain and show the long zone name. But you can drop on development mode. That I've used that usually solves the problem. But this is absolutely weird, and it's one reason of the many that I have no hair because of cache. Yeah. Caching problems. All righty. Next up is also Gene. Hey, Gene. Okay. A crucial piece of software I use is being sunsetted. Oh, I'm researching options for replacing it. It is built by Fiverr and called Fiverr Workplace. It is not dependent on a person being on Fiverr, but it's very useful for solopreneurs. It includes these features, which I'm trying to replace with one single solution. I'm looking for, wondering what you or others use to manage. Okay, so we need proposals, contracts, project management, task lists, billing, expense tracking, subscriptions. That's a lot, Gene. That is a whole lot. I don't have a single solution that I use for any of this. One thing you might look at, though, have you heard of kitchen.co? This one's pretty cool. I've been reading a lot about this, and if I were to completely reconfigure our structure of apps we use in the agency from scratch, I would start with this. Yeah, I'm not going to change our there's not enough business reason for me to make a change to this, but this is pretty good, and the pricing is very reasonable. Look at this. If it's only ever going to be you, Gene, and you don't need more than 2 GB of storage, it could be free. Otherwise, it's $30 a month, which is not awful. Or they even have a lifetime deal, including a 20% off deal right now, which is not bad. So check out kitchen.co. They do a lot of this stuff. It has a client portal where they can upload stuff. There's client communications. There are Kanban boards, file management, docs, invoicing and payments, getting approvals. It's a lot of neat stuff here. So I don't know if that checks all your boxes, but probably a lot of them are here. And you can get started for free. Shanta, Fluent CRM versus, whoops. Wow, nobody owns kitchen.com. How about that? So this is not so much a CRM as it is client/project management. So it's really, this is a SaaS. It's not really a CRM. It's more of a, Jamie, it's a PM tool. So I've done a lot of reading about it, and there's not a whole lot of negative that I've read about it, which is weird because most people hate all PM software for good reason. All righty, next up is Shanta. By the way, Gene, hopefully that was helpful. That's where I would start. And the UI is nice in Kitchen. Okay. Shanta, another Google question for you. Oh dear. I've asked Gemini to create a document and it did a great job, but I want to change the accent color of all the smart chips. I can change the background color of the tables in the cells, but it's the content of the tables that's driving me crazy. It's not just in tables either. I've tried to use these outside tables. I have no idea how to do this. So I'm guessing, Gene, pardon me, Shanta, that you can't click the Gemini button on the active tab with the sheet and ask it to change all the things. That figures. Are you using the Comet browser, Shanta, from Perplexity. They had that free offer, you know. I don't know if they still have that or not, but it was if you sign up for Perplexity for a year, they give you a free year if you use PayPal, and it's just free. Now you have to remember to cancel it later, but that you get access to the Comet browser. It's an agentic browser, and it might be able to do that. Like I demoed that here on office hours, where in the WordPress admin. Well, let's just try it. We're kind of getting late on time here, but now I'm curious. Let me see if I can get it open and logged in quickly enough. It does some interesting things. I'm just going to log into our agency success account. I've got ridiculous captchas I've got to go through here. I'm in squiggly captcha hell. Okay, here we go. I don't want to do my home address. I don't want to do that. And okay, now I'm in a drive. Okay, so here we are in Perplexity. I don't care about any of this. Let's do a sheet and just see what it can do. See if it has access. So could I say, make a, because if it'll do this, it'll probably do what you're describing. Oh, it's on a dock. I mean, same difference though. If it can interact with it looks like look, it closed that pop-up. Oh my gosh, look at it. It's going to do it. These agentic browsers blow me away. Okay, they say, oh, you've tried this already. According to their documentation, they'll work on sheets, but not on docs. Well, that stinks. I would still try it. Oh, you haven't done the agentic browser? Yeah, I would try that and just see. Because if it can get into the dock and move around, it will know what to do. I mean, the other option is, have you just taken a screenshot of the dock and tell ChatGPT or whoever, I hate the pink here. How do I get rid of it? It'll probably give you step by step on how to get rid of it. There's a couple of different directions for you, Shanta. You would think that Gemini would be able to figure it out. I agree. But yeah, try Comet because it's better. Like the implementation of Gemini in Chrome is still not nearly as robust as the Comet browser. All right, I got to get moving here because we are at time and I still have 5 questions. So we're going to do lightning round here. Tanya is next. Oh boy, this is a good one. If I can copy correctly. Okay. What is your go-to plugin for restricting content now that Restrict Content Pro has become iffy? So great question. So first of all, I would never use Restrict Content Pro or any membership plugin if all I needed to do was restrict content to a role, for example. Where you would need a membership plugin like RCP is if you have billing and subscription billing that grants the access. So a membership plugin is billing plus content protection. And that's really, so if all we need is content protection, then I would not bring in, like it's too much of a solution to bring in a membership plugin. So you can do content protection with most page builders, like Beaver Builder. That's what we use. We would just restrict row or module visibility based on role or certain conditions. You can do that in many blocks as well. What is the plugin? Block conditions. Conditional blocks. If you're using blocks, this isn't it. Block visibility. That's what I'm after. This plugin is absolutely amazing to do all sorts of conditional views in the block editor. Cadence does have some basic restrictions, but I would use this plugin. It is much more robust than the Cadence block or other block visibility. All right. Let's see. Next up is Beth Livingston. Beth says, I had all my accounts on Cloudflare and then recently moved all of them to hosting.com, rocket.net. Does that mean I can just use Cloudflare for DNS and get rid of all the other settings and rules? Or are my current settings taking precedence over what hosting.com is setting with Cloudflare? It's the other way around. So the answer is yes, you can delete everything else. Your DNS is still going to be in your Cloudflare account. That DNS is still primary, but the implementation of Cloudflare within rocket.net is going to ignore basically all your other settings. So you don't have to change anything. You can just leave them as it is, which interestingly informs our previous question you had about AI accessing the site. Let me come back to that. So the rocket.net implementation of Cloudflare Enterprise overrules your existing security rules and so forth. Okay, now coming back quickly to, it's not going to be the Cloudflare rule because all those are going to be overruled by rocket.net, which means that talk to rocket.net and see if they know of anything that might be blocking the bot. But I've also had that happen where for whatever reason, the AI tool can't view a site. And I will generally at that point go to the page that I want and print it as a PDF and drop that PDF back in the chat with the AI tool. And that solves the problem. Rather than me trying to troubleshoot why you can't access this page, just PDF the page, drop it in the chat, done. Okay, next up is Elizabeth. Hey, Elizabeth. Oh my, I love it. This is a great question. It seems like there are always a lot of Cloudflare questions and problems. Is there really a big advantage to using it? Yes, absolutely there is. The questions and problems come up. There's just a lot of detail there, right? It is incredibly powerful. It really truly ups the level of security for the websites, and it helps with speed as well. So even at the free levels. So, it really depends. You don't have to implement everything in Cloudflare to get some benefits of Cloudflare. So like you could bring a site into Cloudflare and just use it to run DNS. And there are built into Cloudflare, just without any other rules that you add or anything else, certain denial of service protections and things like that. It's just better. So yes, it is better. Okay, next up is Karen. Hey, Karen. All right, have I run into this Google search issue? When I'm logged into my Google account, clicking the review count link in my knowledge panel does nothing. When I log out of my Google account, same browser, it works immediately. This happens across multiple browsers when logged in and works everywhere when logged out. No extensions involved, no labs. This feels like an account level Google search UI experiment, not a that is weird, and I've not seen this. Has anybody else seen this? That is weird, Karen. You may have the weird situation of the day. Ben's seen it. Ben, do you know what's the deal there? Ben does a lot with Google Business Profiles. So strange. And it does it in different browsers too. Yeah, Ben just says go to your panel and get the review link from there. That is a weird one, Karen. I've not yet run across that. Of course, now that you just mentioned it, I'll probably see it tomorrow. Okay. Last question of the day is from Tanya. We got to wrap this live stream up. dvdpa.org. Tree has been. Oh, you did the tree. Okay. Y'all remember Tanya had this question about the ornaments on the tree? Let's take a quick look. Oh, look at all the bones on the tree. Oh, this looks great, Tanya. Check it out. Everybody look at this and go make a donation if you want to. This is the Delaware Valley Doberman Assistance Group. Look at the puppy. That's great. Very cool. Well, congratulations. Great job. That puts to rest a series of office hours questions over the last couple of weeks. All righty. All right, folks. Well, that is going to wrap us up for today. I really appreciate you hanging out with me for the last hour. We solved a few problems. We saw a few things and we left a few problems unsolved. So basically your typical office hours. But thanks again for hanging out with me. Don't forget, next week is a holiday week. The next 2 weeks are holiday weeks. And so office hours will be on Friday at the same time for the next 2 weeks. So that's the day after Christmas and the day after New Year's. We're here on next Friday, the following Friday at this same time, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern time. Hope you have a great rest of your week. Hope you have a wonderful holiday week next week. And until then, we will talk to you soon, and we'll see you back here on Hosting.com's Agency Success, where we go further together.